It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, BCCI, the Indian Cricket Board, downsizes their squad, says the contract termination was just logistical reasons. But what is the truth? Why has the Indian board terminated the contracts of some of their coaching staff despite an ICC Champions Trophy win? Manchester United savour an emotional win at Old Trafford after a horrid, long and drab season. The stadium erupts, players get emotional. What does this mean for the languishing Red Devils? And tennis legend Serena Williams erupts, reacting to Yannick Sinner's consolatory ban. Says she would have been banned for 20 years had it happened to her. More on the show, but first, the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, Pakistan's women's side has qualified for the ODI World Cup 2025. A dominant 87-run win over Thailand made it 4 in as many matches for the host nation. Captain Fatima Sana first scored 62 while batting, then picked up 3 wickets while defending the target. The World Cup will be played in India, but Pakistan's matches will take place at a neutral venue owing to their hybrid setup agreement between the two countries. On to football, Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti will reportedly leave the club at the end of this month after the Champions League loss to Arsenal. The Copa del Rey final against Barcelona on 27th of April is likely to be Ancelotti's last assignment. The Italian manager is linked with Brazil's head coach job. Over in the Champions League, English club Tottenham eased past German side Eintracht Frankfurt in their Europa League quarter-final tie. Dominic Solanke scored from penalty in the first half to make the aggregate 2-1 in Tottenham's favour. The club will now face Bodo Glimt in the semi-final. In tennis, number 1 seeded Carlos Alcaraz continued his winning run after the Monte Carlo Masters triumph. The Spaniard has entered the quarterfinals of the Barcelona Open, beating Laszlo Dieri in straight sets. He will now face Alex de Minaur later tonight. And Aquatic Sports Integrity has banned Tunisian swimmer Ahmed Hafnoui for 21 months. The Tokyo Olympic gold medalist failed to provide his whereabouts on 3 occasions. His ban now runs until January 2026, and all his results from April 2024 onwards have been scrapped. The swimmer didn't take part at the Paris Games owing to an injury. There has been another minor shake-up in the Indian men's cricket setup. The BCCI has downsized the support staff, but it is no temporary sitting out, like resting players ahead of a series. This is termination. 4 members of the support staff have been removed ahead of India's all-important series against England that begins post the IPL. The biggest name struck out from the squad has been that of Abhishek Nayar. Now let's first look at what is being said. Many voices in the BCCI are making it seem like a normal procedure. It was just too many support staff. And for this year, they were reviewing the size of this entire squad, the contingent, so to say. So Abhishek Nayar, their assistant coach, T. Dilip, their fielding coach, strength and conditioning coach Soham Desai, and a team monsieur, they have been terminated. The biggest blow clearly is Abhishek Nayar departing in less than a year of taking charge. And the reason I say this is because of the cricketers he's helped along the way before he even took up the India job. Abhishek decided to start on a coaching and mentorship journey younger than when most ideally do. He realized his true passion, love and skills was in trying to help other cricketers get better. His first mentee was in fact Dinesh Karthik, when he wanted to make a comeback and get fitter and better for the international circuit, before of course now transitioning to being a mentor himself at the IPL and a commentator otherwise. Karthik always spoke about what Nayar did for him and how he'd never forget his contributions.
I would not be where I am without Abhishek Nayar. Working with him is an ongoing process. We discuss a lot about the game, mostly on the phone since we are both busy playing. He advised me to show intent from ball 1, be very aggressive.
Nayar joined the Kolkata franchise, and youngsters like Varun Chakravarthy, Venkatesh Iyer credit him for the way they've evolved as cricketers since. and achieving milestones like winning an IPL.
All I can think of right now is the person who built this Indian core. The main guy behind this is Abhishek Nayar.
Abhishek Nayar deserves all the credit in the world. Some of his contributions go unnoticed. I want to make sure it doesn't.
In fact, there was a flurry of messages, posts, tweets, and just so much gratitude that many of the Kolkata players showered, especially on their coaching staff and particularly Abhishek Nayar. And then, when he rejoined Gautam Gambhir in the national setup, he did not stop. KL Rahul, who has had a monumental shift over the last year post coming back from his injury, the kind of mental and technical fortitude he's shown on the international stage had to have had some influence.
I've worked really hard on my white ball game the last year or so. Big shout out to Abhishek Nayar. We worked hours and hours together.
It's not the time that he puts in right during those series, during the tournaments or matches. It is the time that he dedicates to these players when they aren't involved in international cricket, not during the games at all, behind closed doors. Nayar has also been helping Rohit Sharma in his quest to ace the last stage of his career. We know how hungry the captain still is, and Nayar was assisting him in that efforts. These are enough instances to show the kind of impact this young 41-year-old coach has had on India's cricketers today. Safe to say there's more to this than just logistics. There are, of course, murmurs of heads having to roll post the test fiasco last year. India losing to New Zealand and Australia didn't sit down too well with a lot of the management, but they came back stronger in another format, did the Indian team, the ODIs, and won an ICC title, a campaign that Abhishek Nayar was also a part of. T. Dilip transformed the aspect of fielding, that fielding award that India started a practice of during the 2023 ODI World Cup is a landmark moment that has not only made the team set higher standards for themselves on the field every time they go out, but has made them a better fielding unit, a fitter squad. Sources say this was not supposed to go down in the way it did, that Nayar was unfortunate to be shown the door, that he became part of collateral damage. India does have an able hand in Sitanshu Kotak, who will continue in his role as batting coach, but India is sure to miss the services of someone who's clearly touched so many lives and has really made so many careers. And here's hoping the chop and change that is usually done to mend affairs doesn't rock the boat or create more rift in that Indian dressing room. Manchester United may have salvaged their otherwise forgetful season with a win for the ages in the UEFA Europa League quarter-final against Lyon. After dominating the first half to being on the back foot in the second and then behind in stoppage time first half, the Red Devils did the unthinkable by scoring 3 goals in 7 minutes to win the tie 7-6 on aggregate scores. While the 11 players do deserve credit for shining in the nerviest moments, the impact of those 70-odd thousand from the Red Army at Old Trafford cannot be ignored, because despite the Manchester Giants languishing at 14th in the points table in the Premier League, a jam-packed stadium reverberated with "Glory, glory Man United" even before kickoff, and reminded the current setup of what the famous Stretford end really stood for. It was deafening last night. Every United player forgot the abysmal season that they've been having and turned up on the night. 2 goals were scored in the first half, not by the usual suspects. Manuel Ugarte and Diaglo Dalot opened the account, and just when the United setup looked in command, the drama really started to unfold in the second half. Lyon scored 2 quick goals to equalize and then 2 more to send jitters across the United camp. But this was an altogether different night. It wasn't just the players not letting their shoulders drop, but also the fans. The Red Army got louder even when the side was trailing by 2 goals.
The team was tired. You could feel it during the game, and then 4-2 with one more player, and you think it's over. But here, it's never over. Everything is possible. You feel the environment. The sound of the stadium was the best sound I'd ever heard.
And then came the famous Fergie time comeback that had been missing for a while now. The period where Manchester United sides of the past have scored goals in the dying moments of the game, showing true grit. Captain Bruno Fernandes put one past in the 114th minute, and then of course came Kobe Manu's goal in the 120th, and the big head of Harry Maguire in the 121st minute to nose ahead, sending not just the Old Trafford into a frenzy, but also the whole internet. Yes, redemption for Maguire too, because despite him being a central defender, Maguire spent much of the time in the last minutes up front. A player who was mocked, trolled, criticised by fans and pundits everywhere was United's saviour once again last night. It is wins like these that give you a reminder of why a major team is always needed at the biggest competitions. Yes, the underdog story is always inspirational, but where do you get an atmosphere like the one we saw last night? One such game where even if you weren't there at the ground, the intensity, the passion was all felt across the different screens at various homes. Sure, it is no Champions League or a Premier League title race, but it is a statement for the rest of the clubs. The United may be struggling, but the legacy isn't going to die out anytime soon.
This kind of moment can help a lot of players in this season. They can create some connection with the fans and players. We forget for a few minutes what kind of season we've had.
Manchester United may have millions of problems to address currently. Mice poop in the hospitality boxes, crumbling roof at the stadium, major cost-cutting drive by the owners. But this win has just given them the belief that maybe it isn't all that gloomy after all. Sure, there is a big semi-final and final still left, but the players and the fans have added another historic chapter in the legacy of this club. Maybe the Giants have finally woken up from their slumber after all. Italian star Yannick Sinner is set to return to professional tennis next month. He'll be back after serving a 3-month ban for testing positive for a banned substance twice last year. And the tennis fraternity continues to be miffed over this decision. Tensions continue to linger around whether it was fair judgment. Voices are growing against Sinner getting a biased treatment from authorities, and the latest is tennis great Serena Williams. The 23-time Grand Slam winner feels had she been in a similar situation, the ban would have been far severe. Given her history of being called out for the most minor offences during her playing days, our next report gives you more.
The tennis world has been hit by a massive storm. The Yannick Sinner doping suspension has divided the sporting world. Sinner tested positive for a banned substance twice last year. Initially, the ITIA let off Sinner by saying it was an unintentional offence. Then WADA came into the picture. The world number one accepted a 3-month ban after reaching a settlement with the anti-doping body earlier this year. The ban started on the 9th of February and will last till the 4th of May. But the verdict didn't sit too well among the tennis fraternity. Many felt it was a convenient decision. Reason? The period Sinner missed had no Grand Slam tournaments and only a handful of ATP events, not causing any damage to Sinner's surge in the tennis world. And joining the voices against the 23-year-old now is tennis legend Serena Williams.
I love the guy. I love his game. He's great for the sport. I've been put down so much, I don't want to bring anyone down. But if I did that, I would have gotten 20 years. Let's be honest, I would have gotten Grand Slams taken away from me.
Serena, who rose up during a time when a coloured athlete had much resistance, was called out for the most minor offences during her playing days. Doping was a sin, and Sinner walking out of this one has clearly enraged her. The tennis star, who retired in 2022, had the most bizarre fine in 2018. During the 2018 US Open final, which she lost to Naomi Osaka, Serena was accused of getting coaching signals from her mentor during the match. A claim that frustrated Serena, leading to a major fight with the chair official. She ended up getting fined $17,000 for her aggressive behavior. Serena has been fined and pulled up for many offences she had committed even during her earlier years, for smashing rackets and getting into arguments. And the most famous of all was the 2001 Indian Wells tournament. Serena, her sister Venus Williams and their father Richard Williams were accused of match fixing. Venus was set to face her sister Serena in the semi-final but pulled out due to an injury. Serena entered the final and won it, but not before the crowd booed her. They were heckled by all the spectators. Her father Richard also claimed that racial slurs were hurled at him, all leading to Serena boycotting the tournament for 14 years. So Serena Williams, the champion that she went on to be, did not have it easy, and she too resisted it all to be pulled up. And while that would have been right in the tennis good books, why then was Sinner treated differently is her question. The American ace even gave them the example of her biggest rival, Maria Sharapova. The Russian was banned for 15 months after testing positive in 2016, a substance that was only added in the banned list in the start of the year.
Just weirdly and oddly, I can't help but think about Maria all this time. I can't help but feel for her.
Serena and Maria were the fiercest of rivals who hardly saw eye to eye on court. If the American is being sympathetic towards Maria here, it sure shows how disappointed she is in the Sinner verdict. How unfairly players have been treated owing to certain reasons or the stature of the player in question. Surely we haven't seen the end of the Sinner doping debate, because as soon as the Italian returns, the voices are sure to get louder.
Time for Last Serve. Argentina legend Lionel Messi isn't just reviving football in America, he's also fulfilling wishes of critically ill children. As part of the World Wish Month, 23 such kids from across America met the Inter Miami Stars, and it made their day. Some heartwarming pictures there, but that wraps it up here on First Sports. Do enjoy the weekend. I'll see you on the other side of it. Bye-bye.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
I love India.
Presence
occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Bluntly, Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.